Are you living your best life?
We are.
I'm Shona.
I'm Shaun.
That's Cali, and we live on the sea.
Hi, so the next chapter. So the seed had definitely been planted with me for a couple of months, and now I had to break the news to Shona.
Yeah. So, Shaun had read the book by Sue Cooper, which was Millionaire in Flip-Flops, which we mentioned in the previous video. He insisted that I read this book, and who the hell has time to read a book? Not me. I was running at 1,000,000 miles an hour, as we all do, but we had a trip planned to Cancun, and he insisted that I read this very easy little book to read. So I read the book on the way to Cancun, and it starts with the whole story of the Mexican fisherman, which really we'll come to another time, but it really related to it, and it was an aha moment for me. But nonetheless, I read the book, and that was that. I think it was our anniversary trip or something anyway to Cancun. But anyway, we got back.
Sharp rock.
Yeah. We are actually sitting on a beach in the 10,000 Islands. It's Indian tea, our favorite to come to for lunch. I even have my wine. But anyway, so yeah, what happened from then, Shaun? Oh yeah, so then Shaun says to me, okay, I've got a surprise for you when we get back to Tampa. And I'm like, what? He never has surprises, and he was just behaving weirdly. Anyway, so I go along with it. It wasn't for our anniversary or anything, but he said we're going over to St. Pete. And I knew there was a boat show on in St. Pete. And I was like, if you're taking me to a boat show to buy a boat, I'm going to be so angry, because I've always said to him, I don't want a little boat that can fit on a trailer. When we buy a boat one day, it's going to be one that we can live on. And I knew that wasn't going to happen, and we weren't ready to do that. Anyway, so we drive across, and he goes to St. Pete. I'm like, you are taking me to the boat show. He's like, I'm not. We ended up going outside the boat show to a little restaurant that's still there today called Fresco. So we sit down for lunch, and I order a glass of wine and a salad, whatever, we're chatting, and I'm like, he's so weird. Like, I don't know why, but he's very distracted. I was like, something's not right. Of course, I know him like I know myself. So we finish the lunch, and he says, let's walk. Another reason. I'm like, okay, what is up? So we walk to the end of the marina, the very end of the marina, and he takes me by the shoulders and turns me around, and he looks at me and he said, we can retire tomorrow. And I was like, the first words out of my mouth were, did you rob a bank? Because we don't have money to retire tomorrow. Anyway, he said, no, we just have to think differently. Now, I had just read the book and the whole Millionaire in Flip-Flops thing, which has nothing to do with the millions, as we said. And I think I was just ready and receptive. And he was like, look, we are waiting. We had a plan, our plan, the vision board, me. I'm so, that A-type personality, everything's planned, organized, whatever. And it was like, okay, we're going to pay off the house. Once the house is paid off, we're going to buy a boat, then we'll sail off into the ocean. And he was like, we need to think differently, like we can change it. We don't have to wait until all of this other stuff happens. On top of that, we had lost our friend, Stephen, who this was earth-shattering for us and literally pulled the carpet out from under us.
But no, we lost Stephen later that year. We had lost somebody else prior to that.
Yeah. And we were like, as I said in the previous videos, we all think we have time. And so he says to me, we can retire. In my mind, I'm like, we have the house, which is beautiful. It's been in magazines. We have the house. I have my personal training studio, which was at my home, my clients, everything. I went through all of this in my mind in a flash, which literally seemed to me like minutes, but it was probably almost instant. And I just said to him, yes, let's do it. And we literally walked from, they've remodeled that St. Pete Pier now, but
Yes.
we walked from one side of the pier to the other side of the pier and sat down with our legs dangling over the edge, looking at the boats. And I said, okay, let's do it. We don't know how exactly we're going to do it, but let's go tell the girls. So of course, as soon as we leave there, we're so excited, holding hands, everything. I phoned the girls and I'm like, go straight to the house. We need to see you and Justine. I'm talking to Tam, so I said, we need to go straight to the house, Dad, and I need to talk to you. And so her first reaction was like, are you getting divorced? I'm like, why would you think that? It's like the last thing possible. Anyway, so we go to the house, and you know, it was so strange because I opened the front door to my home, and you know, for a woman, your home is everything. And I opened the front door to my house, and I had the most magnificent cabinet that a friend of mine made with doors that came from doors that came from Paris in France, and little doorknobs that came from wherever. I just loved it. Tall to the roof with glass doors. But I walked in and I was like, okay, don't need this, don't need that, don't need this. And it was just so freeing to realize that you could just let all of that stuff go.
I think the important message in all of this is you always think, you know, one day when I retire, you know, and there's this, most people have heard of the Great Loop where you basically take your boat up the eastern seaboard and then into Canada and then down through the Mississippi Valley river system. And, you know, there's so many people that I've heard who join the Loopers Association because one day they're going to do the loop, and that one day never happens, and all of a sudden they're no longer with us.
Gone.
And so, you know, for us it was just, let's do it now, do it while we're young and fit and healthy. And it's all about making decisions to better your life, no matter how weird and different they are. Our friends thought we were nuts. And we probably were, but you know what? No regrets, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Absolutely not.